Hello everyone and welcome to another high elo game of Age of Empires. Today we've got the Battle of the Extra Melee Armor as Lewis, playing as the Gurjaras in blue, prepares to take on the Viper, playing as the Slavs in yellow. Now all the players heard their herdables explore their immediate surroundings and try to get their butts up to Feudal Age ASAP. Not a bad opportunity for us to take a look at the Civ matchup that we are going to be watching today. The Gurjaras are a civilization that focuses on man's other four-legged best friends: horses, camels, and even elephants. Their camels, their elephants are created faster. All mounted units deal extra bonus damage. Their camel line units and their elephant archers can be upgraded to get a massive +4 extra armor, melee armor boost, I should point out. And their first unique unit is the Shravamsha Rider, a super fast cavalry unit that can actually dodge enemy projectiles. 5 projectiles dodged for the base model, 7 if you go up to elite, and that, by the way, resets every 20 seconds. Now, to support their mounted units against pesky things like, I don't know, very powerful infantry perhaps, well, the Gurjaras can field a second unique unit, the Chakram Thrower. This is an infantry unit with a ranged melee attack that throws discs like Xena Warrior Princess, and just like her discs, if you are old enough to have seen that show, the ones thrown by the Chakrams can hit multiple targets at once, and by the way, they do 100% pass-through damage and come with an attack bonus against infantry. Now, in order to help the Gurjaras build their military, take a look. You'll have seen they start the game with 2 free bushes underneath the town center. They can garrison their livestock to auto-generate food. So let's take a look at the top left. 19 food, 20 food, 40, 41. It just goes up a unit, the more, obviously quicker, the more animals you garrison inside of here. And lastly, they can upgrade their entire military industrial complex so that all of their military units cost 25% less food. They might want to get that upgrade ASAP because they are facing off against a very powerful civ here, with the Viper playing as the Slavs, a civilization that absolutely loves to get in your face. Their infantry, which is already quite strong, can be upgraded to do trample damage. And their unique unit, the Boyar, is a fairly slow, super tanky, powerful cavalry unit with a ridiculous amount of melee and pierce armor. Think Teutonic Knight on a horse. Now, to support their melee units on the field of battle against harassment by ranged, perhaps, things, and by things I mean unit. Very professional level of casting here, talking about things and stuff. Well, then they can turn to their siege. All Slavic siege workshop units are 15% faster, which is fantastic because they do have access to every single siege unit in the game except for bombard cannons, and those cheaper siege units can be combined with their monks, which move 20% faster than normal to generate a powerful siege monk rush, or adorably called a smush. Now, Slavic castles themselves can also be upgraded so that 40% of their stone cost is replaced with wood, which does save players about 260 stone per castle after they lay out 650 for that initial castle to research dead nets. Not exactly an Inca or a Frank bonus, but still a powerful one nonetheless. And for them, to help them grow their military production, they get both supplies and gambesons for free. Their farmers work 15% faster, and every single barracks, archery range, stable, and siege workshop actually provides 5 population space, much like a house, which does free up a bit of wood for more army in the early, let's say, mid-feudal to early castle age, when perhaps skirmishers and archers and pikemen and spearman line units are out in large quantities, large obviously with an asterisk for that time of the game, but anytime you can save a bit of wood doesn't really hurt. So those are the 2 civilizations. Like I mentioned, you've got one civilization with camels, who not only come with a ridiculously high attack bonus, progressively higher and higher as the game goes on. Those camels deal 40% more bonus damage against cavalry units. Well, against everything they have a bonus, though. To, when we're focusing on the Slavs, might as well take a look at cavalry. But those camels can also be upgraded to get 4 extra melee armor. Whereas if you're looking at melee armor, I mean, they ain't none finer on a horse than the Boyar. I mean, they have a base. I'm trying to think. Lately, I've been confused between the Manaspa and the Boyar, but I believe a Boyar Elite has a base melee armor of 8, which I believe is the Manaspa's almost. I think the Manaspa's either 7 or 8 once it gets to the elite form, maybe 8. And that's just the Boyar's starting position before any upgrade. So I'm very excited to see this matchup. Anytime you go up against the Gurjaras, or you watch a game of somebody going up against the Gurjaras, it's always a big question mark because they're, in my opinion, in many opinions, I don't know if this is a popular or not a popular opinion, very much a counter civilization, much like the Incas. Imagine if you gave Incas mounted units, then you'd have the Gurjaras. Basically, they can counter so many things, and they're just such a cool civ to watch. And while we watch, let's take a look at the bases, because the Viper with one extra villager is going to hit Feudal Age a little bit later than his opponent. And let's take a look at where Lewis's starting resources are. Gold, nice and secure to the back. Primary stone off to the side, not really on the very easy north-south attack path between the two bases. Bushes a bit exposed, mill exposed, but he's already begun walling off the forward portion of his base. That forward portion, by the way, has a little bit of gold next to it, some stone off to the left. And where's the third pile of gold? There it is. I don't know why I'm still having so much difficulty. Almost 2 years into casting on this channel, and I still confuse stone and gold, because that's just the way we roll here and make a shiitake mushroom ton of mistakes. Let's take a look at the Viper's base. Also gold, nice and secure to the rear. Also primary stone. I mean, this is so annoying on a hill. Is this 4 patches? Is this 3 patches? Is this 19 patches? No one can tell unless you actually highlight it. Then it's actually very easy to tell. Off to the side as well. Gold and stone kind of in the forward position, and then an extra patch of gold here on the left. Both of these bases, by the way, very much open. 3 small forests for our Gurjara. It looks like 2 small forests for the Viper, unless you count this one. That being said, both of them have what looks like additional lumber to the rear of their bases, so we'll see how the players decide to wall this off, if they even do. For now, here we go. Like I said, mid-feudal to early castle. It doesn't hurt when you don't have to build as many houses. And there we go. First blood drawn by our Slav, who is moving forward with 8 army count to 1. This is all the Gurjara has right now. A half-dead camel scout facing off against a regular scout, 3 spearmen, 2 skirmishers, and 1 skirmisher just pops out as well. But I don't know if this is going to be enough. Both players banking very few to no resources. Both players are at 26 villager population. Looked like Lewis was housed for a second. But even though he was housed for a second, does manage to finally get that kill. I'm assuming it was the camel scout that got that. Nope. It was the... Oh my goodness, my clicking skills. It was the normal scout that he trained later. Looks like the Viper, managed to get that 1 skirmisher we saw pop out of the archery range earlier. And Lewis continuing to go. Skirmisher's not a bad idea here. Basically everything the Viper has, spearmen and skirmishers, will fall to skirmishers. Remember, they do have an attack bonus against one another. But the Viper, dear Age of Empires, he is at 13 army count. And there are non-stop yellow dots moving across the mini-map here from the south to the north. Another skirmisher dies right, of course, as I pivot away from the action. And oh no, now the Viper's starting to get villager kills as well. So both players have killed 3 military of one another. The only difference is that the Viper's killed the villager. And actually, never mind. Lewis gets another kill. Oh, these villagers are playing with fire. Be careful. Oh, are the skirmishers going to chase? I think they could have gotten 1 more volley off against that villager. But man, does he save that villager in the nick of time. Where is he? Why are you in the forward position? Send this guy here. Send him all the way back here. There's no reason to keep him here near where the action is, because if the Viper catches wind that this one villager with a single HP point, a single hit point, he's going to definitely target that villager down. For now, does not see him, though. It's that villager's right in this little dark spot. Lewis looks like he wanted to pick off some reinforcements in the center with this camel and horse scout combo. Fries not included. And the Viper's spearmen are in jeopardy as well. Okay, so the Viper accomplishing a little bit and then kind of not. Feels comfortable enough that he's getting wheelbarrow at the moment. Sitting at 1 villager less than his opponent. And now just the skirmisher, just the numbers here for the Viper, who has 18 army count to 9, are going to prevail and are going to make themselves very known. This is not 1, this is 2 skirmishers here to the south. And all of a sudden, the army's diffused like a fart in a room. 1 yellow skirmisher chasing 2 blue. But Lewis is picking off stragglers. Not terrible here for him. Lion decides to join in. That's the last thing you want when you're already at an army deficit. The Viper has managed to get another villager kill. He's going for a third. I mean, there's a lot of villagers here just hanging out. I'm surprised that he continued to attack the mill and not the villagers or even the tower with his army here. And this is just non-stop forging. Town watch. Why is he getting town watch? I guess back home. He doesn't want to get sideswiped. He doesn't want to get blindsided rather, by any kind of Gurjara army. I don't know that he necessarily needs to worry too much about a Gurjara army right now. Did manage to get a third villager kill as well. I think our Gurjara is very much focused right now on just staying alive. BG style. He is chasing these skirmishers to the right. They might want to start firing, although this is a full health scout and one spearman is enough to shoo away all three of these scouts. I'm surprised that Lewis isn't taking this fight here. Maybe he's busy microing on this side where it looks like he did manage to get one of the skirmishers. I mean, if he can pick off this spearman right now, then he should be in a fantastic spot to then chase down these skirmishers. Lewis actually takes a kill lead at the moment, having killed 2 spearmen. 2 skirmishers are about to fall as well. Whack, 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 go the scouts. And that is a dead skirmisher if I've ever seen one. Oh, getting a little too cocky there. And still, the Viper has not managed to get more than the 3 villager kills. And despite that, Lewis is at 38 villagers now. Unfortunately for Lewis, when you're the one constantly defending and constantly having to replenish your villager population while your opponent just continues to expand and build unhindered, then you have a situation like we have right now, where if you take a look at the top right of your screen, you'll see the Viper is 2 minutes away from Castle Age. Lewis, oh my goodness, let's see what he did. He bought food, he sold wood, he bought food, he sold wood, and he's now also clicking up, just a minute behind. So Lewis really balancing, quote unquote, his economy. Base is still pretty much open. I'm glad for his sake he did not lose control of the 7 goats that he had in here. I wonder what happened to the 8th. Did he eat the goat? Did he lose it to scouting? And now he's getting even more kills. I mean, Lewis is in a not terrible position. Who's kidding who? He's going to hit Castle Age. Let's see what the actual number is. Yeah, about 1 minute and 2 seconds. Without getting too specific. About 1 minute behind his opponent, which is basically just over 2 villager training time, right? A villager is 25 seconds, so 50 seconds. So 2.5 villagers behind. But he's going up 2 villagers ahead. At the same time, he has 16 army count to the Viper's 3, and he's got 31 kills to the Viper's 13. Dyslexics like myself, beware, as I sometimes confuse numbers and words and letters and such. So I don't know that Lewis is necessarily in such a bad spot. He's 16 population ahead of his opponent. I don't know that the scores are necessarily that indicative, although I suspect once he hits Castle Age, that blue name is going to go right above the yellow name. The Viper is sending a scout. I'm assuming he wants to know what the hell he's facing here. 2 spearmen. And what is our Slav doing? He is investing in farming and lumberjacking at the moment. And there we go. Lewis takes the score lead by not too much, about 20, 30, 40 points, depending on when your eyes pivot to that side of the screen. A second town center for him. The Viper just slowly expanding. No real rhyme or reason to how these structures are being placed here. A little bit of a nook to defend the lumberjacks, I guess. But I don't know what this is. I don't know why you couldn't build these in a row and make a wall off. A third town center for our Gurjara, who's getting husbandry and bosa right now. And his camels are out. They have the husbandry, as we saw. The knights for the Viper have the husbandry as well. Looks like a scout died here. A second scout is going to die as well. If the knights can close, that's fine. But if they can't, they're just running around taking HP damage. And the camels will catch up little by little. Second town center looks like it's going down for the Viper here to the south of his base. Ooh, I mean, look at the hilly terrain here. This is very sour for him. Not a lot of places you can put a town center. I don't think he could have fitted here. In any event, Viper is now down just 1 villager, down 9 army count to 18. But to be fair, Lewis's army count is mostly skirmishers, not even elite. No upgrades whatsoever for him, whereas the Viper has gone full upgrades. He got +1/+1 on his mounted units. He's got +1 attack and range on his ranged units. Now he's adding in light cavalry and a 3rd town center. Lewis looked like he was about to wall off his base, has decided against it. The aggression has stopped. An odd location for an outpost. Why not up here? What is he afraid of? The Protoss? Okay, interesting location for an outpost, as I said. What is this blue dot? Just a scout. So far, the Viper has managed to collect 1 relic. And remember, those monks move 20% faster. So instead of 0.7, they move at 0.84. And because of that, there's no fervor for the Slavic monk, because that would just make him way too unfair. If they could move, what, 15% and 20%. And the way this game works, that would make it what? Basically, you just add the two. Villager down, scout down. Both players exploring each other's bases, but are we going to see some kind of big arms race and heading up to Imperial Age? The resources don't indicate it, but the trepidation, the hesitation of the players to actually engage into one another, to be out on the map. The Viper is not setting any foot out on the map, despite quite a lot of early game aggression. We did manage to pick off a monk. That being said, Lewis is also not exactly being as jingoistic as he could be, with a 19 army count lead to 15. And the more camels he adds, the better it is for him. Oh, unless the Viper just steals them. Okay, then it's not very good for Lewis. I wonder, is the attack bonus still there? Yeah, interesting. So they even converted Gurjara camels maintained, because normally a camel rider comes with 9 attack bonus against cavalry. These guys come with 12, because remember, you have to add 30% more. 20% in feudal, 30% in castle, and 40% in imperial. So 30% of 9 is 2.7, rounded up is 3. And so 9 plus 3 is, I believe, 12, I think, right? Unless I'm completely mistaken. Bye-bye light cavalry units, unless the HP on the camels was shit to begin with. Nope. Yeah. There's what happens when you try to engage into a Gurjara. Oh, but this camel has 4 HP. So they're both kind of just like, I don't know, tiptoeing around each other a little bit right now, which is why I was wondering, are they just going to go up to Imperial and we're going to get to see massive Imperial Age army battles? But neither of them are really banking any kind of serious resources. Neither of them have very crazy villager counts at the moment. Our Gurjara, who's going up to a 4th TC, has 77. Our Slav, who's also going up to a 4th TC, has 70. He's brought 1 monk along for the ride with his cavalry force. Has he converted any more? No, just that 1 camel. Might want to heal these guys up a little bit before you do anything else. The oddly placed outpost on the hunt for alien. This is the SETI, the SETI outpost. What did that stand for? I keep forgetting. The Search for Extraterrestrial Intelligence, I think was the name of the project. Yellow scouts moving up. Blue scout moving down. Ooh, looked like he stopped attacking there for a second, but they're both just picking off monks of one another. I love that Lewis is basically creating a ring of outposts around his base, although I say ring, 2 does not make a ring. Now he's getting wheelbarrow. The Viper already has handcart, and he is going up to Imperial. How many years has this 4th town center been under construction? I feel like I pointed that out an hour and a half ago, but it does finally go up. The Viper's still at around a 6 villager deficit. So he is keeping a pace, which is again why I'm wondering, are they just both going to go bonkers in Imperial Age? Viper's definitely going to hit it a lot. It's a lot harder to buy your way up to Imperial when you're broke like Lewis is than it is to buy your way up to Castle Age. Castle Age 800, 200, Imperial Age 1800. Some more barracks will provide some more population space for our Slav, who is at risk of losing his units. Lewis, did he convert the light cavalry unit on purpose so that it could snipe the monks? If so, kudos to him for not focusing on the heavier units, knowing it was a one-way conversion trip. I think he converted the light cavalry unit so that he could snipe the monks. One knight gets converted as he closes on the monks. His compadre does not get converted, kills one of the monks, but then dies himself. And I don't know what the hell is going on here. Monks and camels and knights. Oh my. Lewis now has a 25-5 army count lead. But where the hell are these skirmishers? What's the point of having these skirmishers unupgraded? They're just taking up population space. Not that he cares. He's got 41 population room available to him, and now he's going to have 61. But what the hell's the point of these skirmishers? At least bring them forward. I'm stumbling over my words. I'm so perplexed. Okay. Lewis says, I like this location for a castle. Let me bring in more villagers than you to get mine up quicker. Let me get my little blue pills. No, I mean, sorry, my little blue villagers. And Lewis just balanced his economy like Bonko, and then immediately also clicking up to Imperial. Right as the Viper hits Imperial, cancels his castle. Lewis cancels his castle, replaces it where the Viper had his castle originally. And the Viper... Okay. So we have literally the mountaintop battle here, and Lewis cancels his castle again. This is why one simple upgrade of skirmishers to elite skirmishers would help out so much here against these pikemen, because they do come with attack bonuses against spearman line units. And the Viper's just throwing away units here. Do I see the Xena Warrior Princess disc thrower? Yeah, I do. So look at how low that attack is, 3. And then the bonus infantry 0 at the moment. It only applies for the elite, like the is it the organ gun, I think, that it has an attack bonus against buildings, but only when it's elite. Chakra moves out of the way. Skirmishers gun down that one chasing pikeman. Another, rather a castle going up here. Lewis does have his castle here to protect the stone and the gold behind it. Viper's going up to the second castle. Oh, and he finally does manage to win the King of the Hill battle here that's been going on for a few minutes. Looks like a pair of knights tried to penetrate in here. What? Got them. Is it just a one halberdier? No. There must be monks somewhere here. No, just 2 halberdiers with 0 kills. Oh my goodness, it was the villagers. Okay. We'll have seen that in picture. And now comes the outpost surround. The exploration of the map. The Viper sending 2 villagers west to explore the rich gold veins here. Moving forward with the Treb. Lewis just hit Imperial Age. He's got 2 castles of his own. No Trebs for him just yet. He just now has the wood for 1 Treb. But he's going iron casting. So he wants to upgrade his melee units, which is fair enough. He's going camels and chakrams. Oh, you love to see this unit. It's such a fun unit to watch. I wish I knew what the distance... I'm going to have to look it up. The distance those chakram discs travel. Okay, a couple of units lost here for the Viper as well as he continues to take... By the way, this is the tertiary gold of Lewis. This is not a neutral gold. The Viper is just taking his opponent's gold right from underneath his very nose. Lewis, I'm not too sure, cares that much. Kills another scout unit because he has control of these 6 patches of gold. Although it's never a good idea to let your opponent take it uncontested, and you know that it's here with your ring of outposts, your belt of outposts. And because the chakrams do melee damage, FYI, 3+2, they take down rams like nobody's business who have negative melee armor. So that is 8 damage. Oh, there it is, the pass-through damage on those 2 halbs. I love that neither player really is too concerned about throwing villagers into the battle. Siege ram, elite chakram thrower, chemistry. So at the end of the day, I don't know that both players necessarily, you know, quote unquote, rushed to get up to Imperial, but it does seem like they were kind of waiting until Imperial Age to fight their battle, or battles, hopefully plural. Villager down, halberdiers rack up 4 kills. How many of those are villagers? All 4 are villagers. Forget that. Go after the camels. If you only knew, if you only had the radar system we do. Look at the Viper side of the screen. My goodness, coinage, chainmail armor, siege ram, 2-man saw, blast furnace, crop rotation, and chemistry for our Gurjara, whose outposts are now under attack. But to be fair, they're serving their purpose. All 3 are under attack. Looks like he lost that villager who was constructing them. But if the whole point of outposts is to get vision and early warning of your opponent's move outs, okay, well, you got it here. Siege Rams, chakrams. Was I right about the elite? Yeah, now infantry is +1. I wonder why they don't give it to them in Castle Age when they're just basic chakram throwers. Would that make them too powerful, maybe? As per the developers? Food for thought. In any event, base attack of 3 has jumped to 4. We've got Boyars. Look at that base armor. 8 + 3. Teutonic Knight on a horse. So let's see what army counts we're working with, because Lewis is at 200 population. Just now realized he doesn't have bloodlines. The Viper is approaching 200. Actually, he just hit 200. And he is moving out with those usually slow, but a little bit quicker now that they've got infantry inside of them. Siege Rams. Our Gurjara. Oh, his chakrams are out of position. This might be a nice trap, actually, for Lewis to sacrifice this one castle, let the one behind it survive as his chakrams just stand here in the middle, because they're not going to do that much damage against Boyars. They should be going after the Rams. And the Viper zones them out with Boyars. Where the hell are the camels? The camels are here fighting halberdiers. No. Lewis caught out of position. Okay, does kill the halberdiers. And the Boyars are just smashing through this army. These are not heavy camels. These are just basic camel riders. And now their attack bonus goes from 12 to 13. So not the biggest improvement in the world. What a disastrous engagement here for our Gurjara. Whoa, was it that disastrous? Okay. I mean, it was disastrous, but was it that disastrous? Look at his food count. With Kshatriyas, I believe the Gurjaras have the cheapest Hussar in the game, although we are nowhere close to Hussar for our blue Gurjara. I want to see what happened there, because I feel like he had the perfect army to counter that. Keep in mind, he's got vision of the Viper's move out from this point, right? So at this point, you see the chakrams moving forward. You don't know that there are Boyars. So what do you do with your chakrams? You want to play it risky? You want to move them here? Or you want to play a little bit safer and move them here? Let's see what he does. So far, nothing. Okay, so he's taking the safer route. Now, by the way, he sees the Boyars. The second he sees the Boyars, I see the camels are starting to move. But again, why are these not heavy camels? I leave that up to you. I don't think they're like the Cumans that don't get heavy camels, right? I think the Gurjaras actually, they must. If now I'm starting to doubt myself. Okay, so he's moving his entire army here to the left. Notices a pair of distraction Boyars to the right, who are doing exactly what they're supposed to do, which is pull the camel force away from the main engagement, which is here. And remember, chakrams, again, 6 attack against a unit that has -3 armor is 9 damage for each one, and then pass-through damage on top of that. So it's not a bad unit. 30 of them to one-shot, and he's got 32. So he can one-shot these guys, all of this entire army in a second. And then, by the way, once he does, all those halberdiers inside are going to be clumped here and ripe for the picking. So what the hell went so wrong here for Lewis? Let's see. I'm going to do it in slow motion. Few halberdiers moving forward. Oh my god. The Viper with 2 Boyars pulls all the camels away, leaving these 5 to attack the Treb. So brilliant move by the Viper. Lewis falling for the feigned retreat. Battle of Hastings style. Meanwhile, over here, the chakrams are engaging into Boyars instead of the Rams. The Boyars are strong, but their weakness, I shouldn't say their weakness, because look at the stats. I don't think they have weaknesses. These are just Hulk units. Their weaker stat is their pierce armor, so you might want to let the castle handle it. Villagers ran into this castle. I wonder if it would have been better to put the chakrams in this castle and pop them out to the south. In any event, I'm not gonna try to second guess too much here. So the Boyars close on the Trebs. Those Trebs are goners. The camels get intercepted by halberdiers. Okay, bye camels. The chakrams. Let's see. Now there's 33 of them. They're going after the Boyars. And they do 1 damage each. So they are taking 33 HP off of a unit with 150 HP. So whereas they one-shot Rams, they need 5 shots for all of them to 5 shots to one-shot a Boyar. Make it make sense. Treb is fallen. And now the counter siege ram force retreats, leaving the rams to basically run amok. Villagers pop out of the town center? Why? Chakrams don't add arrows to a TC. Okay, so now Lewis is afraid. He just wants to save the Chakrams. He's going after the halbs to save the camels. Unfortunately, the numbers are just not here for it, and he's got a whole bunch of villagers that are about to get got. Rams tackle the castle in a matter of seconds. Trebs are down. And now the boyars are running amok. And as awesome as 29 Chakram throwers are against this Teutonic Knight, I don't think they're going to survive very long. Villagers hanging out. I think Lewis realizes... Okay, never mind. I was going to say, I think he realizes he's donezo and doesn't even bother garrisoning them. Yeah, Lewis needed to be a lot more proactive in that battle and try to set the pace and direction of that battle instead of letting the Viper do it. Because once the Viper did it, he pulled him completely out of position. He pushed into the Chakrams, scaring Lewis. He should have garrisoned his villagers up here to fire arrows onto those boyars, as opposed to firing arrows onto the rams. He should have moved the Chakrams south, in my opinion. Now, keep in mind, this is all my opinion, right? This is not, I'm not the one with 2,500 elo facing off against one of the greatest players of Age of Empires of all time. So take everything I say with a grain of salt, because obviously it's a lot easier after the fact to sit here in my underwear in my air-conditioned room with literally no stress on me to say, oh, we should have done this, it should have done that. It's like the meme of somebody critiquing an Olympian athlete when they're just sitting there eating a bag of Doritos and getting high or getting drunk on a couch, saying, oh, you should have done this, you should have done that, as if they can do it. But in any event, I think the Viper just in 3 different directions outplayed Lewis in this one engagement. And Lewis just after that does not have the resources to replenish his army. It looked like he wanted to with all of these stables. I don't think he got Kshatriyas. I don't remember seeing the icon, but it wouldn't be the first time I've ever missed a tech being researched. These 4 killer halberdiers, looks like they didn't get those 2 camels that were here. Those camels were they even on their way? No, they're just hanging out. Okay. So the skirmishers finally doing something useful. I was going to say, what the hell happened to all the skirmishers? But they're here trying to attack the villagers. Are they actually attacking the villagers who are attacking? No, of course not. They're attacking the castle, not the villagers constructing the castle. So a beautiful engagement here from the Viper, distracts and obfuscates, and under cover of siege ram darkness pushes in, destroys a castle, and Lewis just did not take a good fight. And sometimes it happens. Sometimes after 44 minutes of playing your heart out. And by the way, Lewis, like I said, was ahead in early to mid Castle Age. He was ahead significantly, in my opinion. He was getting town centers up ahead of the Viper. He had a more army count than the Viper, even though his economy was absolutely atrocious compared to the Vipers. He really needed to balance and sell and buy a whole bunch just to go up to Castle and Imperial. But ultimately, it all comes down to this last literal minute of the game where one engagement is enough. And, you know, if these were knights, one thing, but because they are fully upgraded elite boyars in Imperial Age, there's not much that Chakrams can do. There's not much even a town center or even a castle could realistically do against so many boyars, and the Vipers got even more, 6 more on the way. And unfortunately for Lewis, one battle, one blink of an eye situation, and the entire game is lost. 36 Chakrams, 33 camels, 18 skirmishers. All right, they somehow managed to survive. Okay, 78 halberdiers, 24 boyars, 19 light cav for our Slav. Peak APM 33 minutes in, 13 minutes in, so not at the same time. The economy's okay, about 20% bigger economy for the Slav. Not a surprise there. 4 relics to 1, so he does take about 1,500 more gold than his opponent. 4 conversions to 3, 10 raisings to 1. That's not good. But all on the whole, the Viper 40 villager kills to 9, 107 kills to 11 total. So Lewis killed more military, especially in that early stage of the game when the Viper just kept streaming his army across the map endlessly, but ultimately does suffer the loss of 40 villagers. He ends the game down 22 villagers, and so he could have replenished a little bit, but like I said earlier, when you're in the shitty position where you're having to catch up basically economically, like he was, then it's hard to do everything at once. You know, this is if everyone had all the resources they ever wanted all the time, the world would be a much better place, and Age of Empires probably wouldn't exist. But unfortunately, economics is what it is. Scarce resources are what they are, and in this game, the Viper managed his scarce resources better than his opponent, put up a string of castles, but most importantly, took an absolute decisive 3-stage victory here against his opponent. Lewis's army collapses under the might of the Boyar siege Sbush? What do we want to call a Boyar siege push? A bush? A bush? I don't know. In any event, doesn't really matter. Silliness aside, fantastic game out of both players. The Viper, though, takes the W with the absolute tank that is the Boyar and the absolute tank that is the Siege Ram, bringing forth all of his heavy hitters, and just takes that W at the end of the day. Although, really, truly, after 44 minutes of fantastic play out of both players, GG to both of those players. Did you enjoy this video? Check out these other clips and make sure to subscribe and enable notifications so that you're notified of my latest uploads.